Yo, peace. Today I want to talk about the tarot. Just kind of a basic introduction into what it is, why you would get a tarot deck, the purpose, and all those things. Now, the tarot serves as a guide for your soul or your mind. See, the first card is the Fool, and the last card is the world or the universe. And the Fool obviously represents the primordial force, and obviously the world or the universe represents you in your higher form or your higher self. Now, obviously, the tarot is a bunch of images. Now, obviously, these images have descriptions, but the whole purpose of the tarot is to get in touch with your right brain or your subconscious mind. And what that means is the tarot communicates to you through symbols. So that's why it's pictures. So it's twofold. For the people that are more logical, you have meanings. For the people that are more spiritually based, you have images. Because again, if we know anything about dreams and we know anything about revelations, if we know anything about anything spiritual or psychic, most of the time these things happen through symbolism. It doesn't really happen about in a way that people just tell you outright. For example, if you was to do a tarot reading, you obviously have to communicate with the symbols. It's not going to say, well, do this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's not going to be just direct and straightforward in that manner. You have to decode it. So the tarot is about decoding the symbolism behind it. So for example, let's just say you're a dude and you're trying to find a way to get more pussy. Yes, you can use a tarot for the most mundane shit. Doesn't matter. If you're a dude, you're trying to get more pussy, and you do a tarot reading, and let's just say you come out with the Emperor. The Emperor represents Aries or Mars, and that basically is telling you on the subconscious level that if you want to get more pussy, increase your masculinity. And again, masculinity is not being macho or not getting bigger muscles. It's all about, see, masculinity has a touch of feminine energy. That's why when you hear the word masculinity, it's like it sounds sexy. It's not just, you don't think of just a person with some big ass muscles and all that shit. Masculinity comes with finesse. It's, in a sense, you are a ruler, you're a leader, you're an emperor, but you have finesse. So you're not just like a fucking tyrant. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference between a tyrant and a pharaoh, as you can say. Although some pharaohs are tyrants, but you know the difference between the pharaoh that's for his people and the pharaoh that's just for political shit, and he don't really care about the people. This is kind of what we dealing with now. Like, people, we deal with Democrats, Republicans, and all these things, but people is like, well, are they really for the people, or are they trying to push their own agendas? You get what I'm saying? And that's why people connect more with certain people, because they feel like, well, they're for the people, and other people are just trying to push agendas. You get what I'm saying? So the purpose of the tarot is to really, it increases your skill of decoding symbols. This is the whole point of the tarot, because when you get better at decoding symbols, you will be able to decode your reality, because your reality is a bunch of symbols. Your reality isn't a bunch of people telling you what to do and what, it's your own life. Everything is symbolism, and what you will come to realize is the more spiritual evolved you become, or the more shadow work and working on your shadow body, the more spiritual shadow work or dark magic or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the more shadow work you do, the more your reality changes and the people around you change. So obviously this is telling you, if I'm changing and I see change in my reality, obviously my reality has something to do with me. It's me. It's how I view things. It's how I see reality that dictates how I live. For example, if you speak a language that nobody else speaks, your communication with these people are not going to be as good. Just picture a baby trying to talk to an adult. You can't speak the language yet, so you have to communicate through other means. This is why a mother and a child relationship is really psychic, because obviously there's no words being exchanged. Well, a mother may talk to the child, but obviously the child can't talk back, at first. So it has to be, they have to do other things to communicate what their needs are. So that's basically how the tarot is. It forces you to think differently because this is ancient science. This is how we originally thought before we were programmed and downgraded. And again, this is not nobody's fault. This is just the natural evolution of things. Everything has cycles. We remember who we are and we forget who we are. This has been going on since the beginning of the time. So nobody's at fault. No, you know what I mean? Nothing is wrong with the world. This is just a phase of death. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is why so much bullshit happening. This is just a phase of death, and we will eventually be right back on top. It's just you have to live throughout these phases. You know what I mean? This is just life. You win some, you lose some, you on one day, off another day. We all go through these things. So the deeper you get into these symbols, the deeper you get into your subconscious mind, the deeper you get into this ancient science. Because the tarot can date back to Egyptian days, fucking medieval days. Who the fuck knows when it was actually invented. But it's just a tool that connects you back with how the ancients thought. See, a lot of people go back in ancient history and they amazed at the type of shit they did and all that shit, but they really don't know how they thought. They thought with their right brain, with the symbolism. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna give an example for a woman, because I know I talk about the dude getting ass. So for a woman, if you was looking for a relationship, for example, when a card that came up was the Empress. The Empress deals with Venus. You get what I'm saying? It deals with beauty, love, creativity, you know what I mean, that mothering element. So that would say, well, maybe you need to be more feminine. And obviously feminine is just not more fucking, you know, just curvaceous or, you know, getting your body in shape and all that. It's really about being more feminine in the sense of more caring, more supportive. See, we in the age now where everybody's just so headstrong and independent, and it's like, fuck everybody else, where's mine? I gotta get mine, fuck everything else. And this is why most relationships don't work, because it's like you got two people in a union, but everybody's trying to do things for themselves. And in terms of when it's time to come together in a union, they can't really come together because everybody's on their own shit. Like, everybody's trying to be a fucking CEO, everybody's trying to be in corporate America, everybody's trying to fucking get their money up, but you got women who don't even want to stay at home and take care of their children. They rather just shoot them off to daycare. And they, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a time where nobody wants to do the hard work. Everybody wants to do the easy shit. And yes, that's the easy shit. Getting up and going to work is easier than staying at home and raising a child. We all know this. Nobody wants to fucking do this shit. So if you're a woman, and it would just say, just develop those qualities a little bit more so that you can actually support a man. Add on to whatever the fuck he got going on, and not like, okay, well, whatever the fuck he's doing, whatever, but I'm gonna have my own shit over here. And people wonder why relationships don't work, because everybody's in it for themselves. So if the woman develop a more feminine nature, and like, okay, obviously at some point you're gonna have children, at some point you're gonna have to fucking do dishes, at some point you're gonna have to raise kids, at some point these skills are gonna have to come into play. But everybody's trying to be like the fucking celebrities and shit and have maids and nannies and all these things, and they don't want to fucking take on the responsibility themselves, and they wonder why this shit doesn't work or relationships doesn't last, because these are essential needs that people require. No man wants to be with a woman who is independent, because why the fuck are you in a relationship if you're independent? You know what I mean? We hear about this shit nowadays. Everybody wants to be independent, but alright, if you want to be independent, then be alone. And this is why we see a lot of this shit in corporate America. You got a lot of women who got money, they got cars, they got everything materially that anybody can ask for, but they're still single. And they wonder why, because like, yo, what man wants an independent woman if she's not going to support him? You get what I'm saying? See, it's not about, you know, like the man is over the woman and all that. This is just about gender. The man is supposed to rule. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Men are leaders. They're supposed to lead their people. You get what I'm saying? How many women have led their people into war? Not saying it's never been none, but generally speaking, when you think about certain things, a man should pop up. When you think about war and you think about who's leading the war, you're going to think about the man. When you're thinking about all these type of things, you thinking about a male, and you think about the women. The women are supporting the men who are taking care of business. Just like the male is going out and fucking working and doing whatever, and the woman holds down the household if that's what she chooses to do. And again, this is just my opinion. Everybody has their own shit, whatever. But this is just how I think. If you think differently, go with that. So back to the tarot. You have two types of tarot readers, like I was saying. You have people that's more spiritually based and people that's more occult based. See, if you're more into the occult, you more into, for example, you have the major arcana, you have the minor arcana. You have 22 major arcana cards, you have 56 minor arcana. The minor arcana is kind of, I'm not used to saying that word, whatever. The minor arcana deals with physical expressions of things, and the major arcana deals with the subconscious mind. So the minor arcana would be the four suits: the fire or the wands, the water or the cups, the wind or the swords, or the earth or the coins or the disc, depending on the tarot deck you have. Now these just represents how energies will manifest in the physical form, and the 22 major arcana represents how energies represents in the spiritual form. For example, we've all seen people who look like somebody else. Like, oh, this person reminds me of this person, or this person reminds me of that person, because they have a similar spiritual archetype. If you're into archetypes or archetypes, whatever you want to call it, just read up on Carl Jung or Carl Jung. Carlyung. He got plenty of works, dedicated to the tarot if you into like the occult aspect of it. But then you have people that's more intuitive, who just, who depend more so on the symbolism, or who don't really care about any of that stuff. You get what I'm saying? Whatever reader you are, go with that. If you're more into the occult, you will realize that the 22 major arcana breaks down into the 3 primordial elements, the 7 planets, and the 12 zodiac signs. Because obviously, everybody can be broken down into a zodiac sign, which goes back to a certain planet, which will go back to a primordial energy. You get what I'm saying? If you're not really into that deep shit, then you don't have to be into it. It's all about personal preference. But obviously, it goes into, obviously, everything in the universe is mathematical. Everything could be broken down in a deeper way than meets the eye. You get what I'm saying? All this may sound a little superficial, but fuck it. You get what I'm saying? This is just how I think. The tarot is all about altering your subconscious mind. So if you do a reading, you say, how can I activate my psychic abilities? And you, let's just say the card that comes up, it's the star. The star represents obviously hope, faith, optimism, and all these things. And you can say, well, what the fuck does that have to do with psychic abilities? Well, obviously, to have psychic abilities, you have to be a genuinely optimistic person, because if you just thinking negative all the time, why the fuck do you need psychic abilities? You get what I'm saying? Because if you have psychic abilities, they should be used to help other people as well as yourself. You get what I'm saying? If you're trying to communicate with spirits, the dead, demons, angels, whatever you're trying to do, obviously, you have to believe that this is possible. You can't have no doubt in your own abilities, because what is that going to do? You get what I'm saying? So obviously, this is just an intro into the tarot. I'll actually do a video with the tarot cards and everything at a later date. I'm just kind of rushed for time right now. You know what I mean? So again, this is just really just an introduction into people who are kind of on the fence about, well, should I get a tarot deck? Should I not get a tarot deck? If you're into symbolism and you're into decoding symbols, and not just, if you don't want people telling you direct answers, if you want to have your own experiences, if you want to make up your own stories and you want to have your own life, then the tarot is good for you, because as you are doing readings, you are required to put together stories. Because if you do a 3-card reading, let's just say it's the Star, the Emperor, and the Empress, you obviously have to connect the dots. And obviously nobody can tell you how to do this. Well, nobody can tell you their way of doing it. You have to do it your own way. You have to figure out how to do it yourself. You get what I'm saying? So if you're into symbolism, you're into the subconscious mind, you're into things like that, then, you know what I mean, pick up a tarot deck. I recommend the Thoth deck. If you're more into the occult shit, if you're more into spiritual shit, get the Rider Waite, the basic tarot deck. You get what I'm saying? So that's just an introduction piece. Hotep, hotep, hotep. Fuck the bullshit.